there's been plenty of moments. I think the earliest one that I can remember, which just stuck in my mind for a long time, was
There have been many changes to the British royal family after the Queen's death, but they have always been the focus of attention. A lot of people are excited about the upcoming administration changes, but the late Queen's will seems to have shifted the attention to something else. There was already a lot of tension before William read the will, and it got much worse as more information came out. Nothing went according to plan, as the late Queen's will contained many more provisions than anticipated. When you learn who the Queen bequeathed some of her most priceless possessions to, you will be overjoyed. Okay, let's dive straight in. The members of her house were burdened with a massive estate, a legacy of duty, and tremendous obligation upon her death on September 8, 2022, following a record-breaking reign of 70 years. Even while everyone felt sadness on this day, her successors saw it as the start of a new, unknown chapter in their story. She left behind an extensive estate that included Balmoral Castle and Sandringham, among many other properties, as well as a personal wealth of over £370 million when she passed away, not to mention her many artifacts and relics. There were issues with Queen Elizabeth's will that no one could have predicted, and it was shrouded in the usual royal secrecy. In addition to bequeathing her riches and other possessions to her heirs, she also left behind some surprise legacies that revealed a fresh perspective on the monarchy. It was inevitable that this would spark discussions over whether or not royal traditions should be updated to reflect modern culture while still honoring long-standing customs. Dealing with the unexpected outcomes of her will was symbolic but also raised several practical problems regarding its significance. She left bequests that highlighted her desire for change and those that sought to mend family division. In order to remain relevant in a society that is always changing, the royal family had no choice but to carry out their duties with a fresh emphasis on modernity, transparency, and unity. Balmoral Castle in the Scottish Highlands is an important site in British royal history. In addition to being the official house of the royal family, the palace is a symbol of communal pride, cherished customs, and a haven from the prying eyes of the media. It quickly became linked with the royal couple's affection for Scotland once they acquired it in 1852. The royal family has always favored this estate, which spans 50,000 acres and has picturesque scenery, hills, forests, and rivers. Throughout the years, Balmoral has served as more than just a getaway for the royal family. It has become the site of many important events, such as celebrations, reunions, and times of solace. Balmoral is particularly important to the royal family. Therefore, when Queen Elizabeth II passed away in 2022, a heated public discussion ensued about its future. Everyone knew that the late Queen had a private interest in the castle, but when she passed away, the apparent heir was supposed to be her son, Charles. Balmoral, in contrast to most other royal palaces like Buckingham Palace or Windsor Castle, was privately held by Elizabeth and not part of the Crown estate. This implies that she was free to do anything she wanted with it, unchecked by Parliament. Since Charles has repeatedly expressed his deep affection for the estate, it was widely believed that he would be the natural recipient. Still, many are curious about the Queen's will, even though it is secretive. According to British law, the judgments made by the sovereign are shrouded in mystery since her will, unlike the wills of regular individuals, is not subject to public examination. As a result, many have wondered if Elizabeth's private desires were honored when she bequeathed Balmoral to Charles and if other heirs may have been considered for its upkeep. The late Queen was said to have had a special fondness for Balmoral, which she frequently called her happy place. There, she spent many treasured times with her family, especially during summer vacations. According to reports, the fact that it is also the place where she passed away gives it much more significance. Balmoral symbolizes strong familial bonds and long-standing customs to Charles. Conversely, other members of the royal family came under public scrutiny as a result of the public's interest in the will's contents. Many were curious as to their true feelings over the division of the assets. Because of their prominent position in the succession, many people paid close attention to Prince William and Princess Anne. Concerns over the royal family's wealth and the handling of private bequests inside the monarchy have been stoked by the secrecy surrounding the transfer of Balmoral. Opponents argue that the secrecy surrounding Queen Elizabeth's will further demonstrates the absence of responsibility that has perpetually shielded the family from examination about the distribution of assets valued at millions of dollars and of tremendous significance. It has served as a timely reminder to the general public of the intricate nature of the connection between the people and the monarchy as it pertains to royal household finances. The passing of Balmoral to Charles appears to indicate familial continuity. In all these arguments, he expressed his desire to see the Balmoral tradition preserved in the hopes that it would aid in the preservation of royal heritage and the evolution of the monarchy into a more contemporary form. It was no surprise that the new monarch was an ecologist. This was something we knew from his other interventions. But he still insisted that the estate be much more environmentally friendly than it is now and placed a premium on providing a venue for ecotourism and environmental protection on a global scale. These would update the estate's legacy without erasing its historical significance. Not everyone was privy to the drama surrounding the Balmoral handover, though. Everyone in the royal family is guessing as to the Queen's intentions, and the fact that a family quarrel may be involved further adds to the mystery. Royal insiders claim that, despite outward displays of unity, long-term discussions over Balmoral's fate have been going on behind the scenes. If confirmed, this places a heavy weight on Charles to bring the family back together and fulfill his responsibilities. Nevertheless, Charles found the bequest of Balmoral to be both a bittersweet event and a tremendous burden. Taking over the estate meant stepping into a long past, which was an emotional weight that everyone could see. More than just a royal retreat, Balmoral represents the unbroken bond between the British Crown and Scotland, a cause to which Charles has publicly committed. His management of Balmoral, according to some, is emblematic of his broader approach to the monarchy, which seeks to strike a balance between history and modernity. By bringing up some of the more intimate aspects of a highly public institution, discussions around Balmoral demonstrated the continuing fascination with the subject of royal succession. The symbolic significance of Balmoral and the secrecy surrounding the Queen's will have stoked passionate disputes about the royal family's riches, openness, and familial ties. Balmoral has remained a beloved getaway for the royal family throughout the years, and although its transfer may remain a mystery, its history will remain unbroken. After Charles acquired Balmoral, he had the responsibility of continuing his mother's legacy and the many customs that had been handed down over the years. As he assumed power, people were curious to see how he would change things and how it would affect the British monarchy going forward. Aside from Balmoral, they will also mention the dispersal of the Queen's personal possessions among the royal family, which sparked more discussions. That includes the special jewels that belonged to Queen Elizabeth II, a collection that spoke eloquently about her impeccable taste and the illustrious lineage of the British Crown. Since certain family members had fallen out of the direct succession line, there was a great deal of curiosity about how the jewels would be distributed after she died. Perhaps in an effort to foster a more welcoming royal custom, the Queen truly did provide something for everyone. Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge, is one of the lucky recipients of treasures from the Queen's private collection. She was gifted several items, one of which was the world-famous Cartier halo tiara, which she wore to her wedding. The approximately 1,000 diamond tiara was originally purchased by King George VI for Queen Elizabeth but was later passed on to Catherine in recognition of her family's status and the ties that bind her to past queens. Prior to the Queen's demise, Meghan, who was once the Duchess of Sussex, was bestowed a number of priceless artifacts from her collection. Among them was the diamond bandeau tiara, which had been donated to her for her wedding. It had been fashioned in 1932 with a centerpiece brooch that had been produced in 1893. As the Queen sought to include Meghan in all things royal, this was an attempt to make her feel at home in the royal family. The Queen Mother was handed several valuable possessions by Queen Camilla, the former Duchess of Cornwall. One of these was the Greville tiara, a stunning diamond jewel with a honeycomb pattern that had belonged to Dame Margaret Greville. Wearing this tiara as a combination of her private life and her formal royal responsibilities is a touching way for Camilla to honor the memory of her late mother and grandmother. On the other hand, Princess Anne, the only daughter of the Queen, received tokens of her mother's appreciation for her unwavering commitment to her royal career. As evidence of the close relationship between the two women, and reportedly inherited several brooches and necklaces that had belonged to her mother. Countess Sophie of Wessex is just the latest royal to don a piece of jewelry from the Queen's collection. She was seen wearing the 5 aquamarine tiara. It is further evidence of Sophie's strong relationship with the Queen that she was bestowed such a significant item. Notably, recipients other than members of the royal family received some of the bequests. Reportedly, Angela Kelly, Queen Elizabeth II's personal dresser and confidant, got a handful of brooches and personal keepsakes. The Queen's decision to buck this later tradition demonstrates her appreciation for personal ties and faithful devotion outside the royal family. Indeed, the split of such gems was what really made the gesture stand out as unconventional, as such wealth is usually tied to a direct line of inheritance. Subtly advocating for a monarchy that is more welcoming of all people and that rewards merit rather than bloodline, the Queen broadened the recipients of her bequests. This perspective sees the late Queen as instrumental in bringing forth monarchical reform in the modern era. She had the potential to make contemporary royal conventions more relevant and close to the people they serve by paying substantial attention to different beneficiaries. After all, there were attempts to push this monarchy toward a new threshold and concerns about respecting connections in the division of Queen Elizabeth II's personal jewels. By following through on her promise of personal attachment and service, she defied tradition and paved the way for the royal family to evolve from an exclusive one into a more inclusive and progressive one. There was a period of profound change within the British monarchy following Queen Elizabeth II's death, both in terms of leadership and the interpersonal dynamics within the family. Among her many bequests, one of the most startling went to Prince Harry, now known as the Duke of Sussex, who has left the royal family and relocated to America with his wife. The future of the monarchy and family connections were the topics of heated conjecture and controversy. What supposedly belonged to Prince Harry in the Queen's will is the most intriguing part. It includes a large sum of money, which may have originated from a trust fund established for the Queen Mother's great-grandchildren. There were rumors that Prince Harry, being the younger son, would receive a bigger portion of the projected £199 million, while Prince William, as the future monarch, would be eligible for further financial arrangements. Some have speculated that Prince Harry received a ceremonial sword as a symbolic present, adding fuel to the fire that has already been kindled by the cash bequest. No one knew where it came from or what it meant historically, but the fact that Harry was its successor sparked a lot of guesswork. Some saw it as an olive branch meant to mend the divide that has only grown since Harry withdrew from royal life, and it spread as a symbol of both honor and duty. The sword would help to remind him of his royal lineage and the responsibilities that come with it. A number of people saw this supposed gift as a representation of the things Prince Harry had given up when he stepped down from his formal active positions in the royal family. He had abandoned his royal responsibilities in favor of a life of seclusion, and this would serve as an everlasting reminder of that. The secrecy surrounding the Queen's will worsen this uncertainty, which in turn sparked even more conjecture. A senior royal's will is sealed and not released, unlike the wills of every other British citizen. Under the guise of precedence in the law, no one knows what the Queen actually bequeathed to Prince Harry, much less what those gifts were like. Uncertainty and conjecture about the will's important contents have persisted in the public arena due to this cloak of secrecy. The will has been the subject of several speculations and interpretations due to the lack of clarity around it. Determining the Queen's intentions through her bequests is a very challenging task. Although there has been no evidence to back up the assertions, some think the will may have caused some of the divisions among the royal family. It has been speculated that she may have included Prince Harry in the will as a method to keep him near to her family, regardless of his position apart from royal responsibilities. May this have been her final effort to bring the family together in an effort to maintain the ties that have been passed down through the years? But the public has no idea what's going on right now because of all the secrecy surrounding the will. People want the institution to be open and transparent, but its policies of secrecy and exclusivity clash with that expectation. As it tries to remain relevant and find its position in modern society, the administration of the Queen's will exemplifies the conflict that arises from the monarchy's difficult balancing act between tradition and the evolving ideals of the society it represents. Beyond that, many have speculated about Prince Harry's possible inheritance of a ceremonial sword. In light of the surprise inclusion of Harry in Queen Elizabeth II's testament, reconciliation and the fallout from his abdication from royal responsibilities are only two of the many symbolic meanings attached to this donation. An overwhelming feeling of responsibility has been with her successors since Queen Elizabeth II's death, which caused a dramatic shift in the British monarchy. After her passing, the royal family became deeply divided along generational lines and over differing opinions on the proper role for the monarchy. Each member appeared to take his or her position very personally, further complicating an already precarious balancing act between tradition and modernity. Prince William, the newly minted Prince of Wales, serves as the unifying force at its core. William must update the royal institution while attempting to maintain its fundamental traditions in order to make the monarchy relevant in a world that seems to be rushing toward continual change. Expectedly, his mission hasn't been simple. With many viewing the royal family's next move as pivotal in determining the destiny of the British monarchy, all eyes are on them like never before.